Papers time again. With me in the studio this morning to review them, broadcaster Gemma Forte and journalist Janelle Aura. Gemma and Janelle, it's so good to see you again. Our last hour. Let's start with this story that we've been... it's been one of our top stories for the last couple of days, this Spanish kiss controversy. And the latest line is the coach, the head coach, he's still there. The entire coaching staff around him have resigned. It's on the front page. Is it? No, it's on page 2 of the Observer with the picture. If we can just bring that up. Okay, Janelle, let's start with you. What do you think? Sportswomen are not dolls to be kissed and patronised. How true?
I mean, this story is like rumbling on and on. I think it's a classic example of wrong and strong. He's like really going to take this like right down to the wire. He'll be the last man standing, literally. His coaching team have walked out. I think it's all clear. We've all seen the kiss. I mean, I can't imagine how she felt in that moment, because it's actually that shocking when you're in a public place and someone does... You're not talking about an office party where everyone's had a few drinks. We're talking in the full glare, all the cameras. This happens to you. So we've all seen it, as he will have, I'm sure, watched the video back and seen it. However, he seems determined to hang on, even though he's been suspended for 90 days pending an inquiry. All his coaching team have walked out. They tried to sue her. I mean, I think this just goes to show how kind of everyday sexism, I know people say, oh, woke rubbish and all of those things, but I think it just goes to show how when people do not take women seriously as sports people, this is what happens. And then actually, rather than saying a mistake's been made here, it's the doubling down, the disbelieving of what she said, the disbelieving of what we've all seen, and it's just going to go on and on, because he won't, seemingly just will not, any part of him, just say sorry. Yeah. And that's literally all it would take to end all of this. And I find it amazing that he's still going.
Yeah, it's been so badly handled. It really, really has. As you say, the point here is that the minute Jenni Hermoso said, I didn't feel comfortable with that, I wasn't asked. You know, these are elite athletes that have just won the World Cup. You know, they, as you say, it would be a highly emotional moment. And we saw he went along the line, he picked them all up like they were dollies in a way. And the minute she said, I wasn't cool with that, all it took really, probably for this to have gone away by now, was for him to say, oh, I'm sorry, I'll have a think about that and reflect a bit. But oh, no. And for it to get as far as the Spanish Football Federation announcing that instead of removing him, they're going to take legal action against the player. So it's become a real Me Too moment for Spain, I think, because actually, overwhelmingly from what I've read, the team have huge support. Yeah. Everybody's coming out in solidarity, as are the British team, the England team here, sorry. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, they've handled it so badly.
He's going to go, it's just when.
Yeah. Well, no, according to him, how many times did he say, I'm not going to quit, I'm not going to quit at the extraordinary general meeting? But we shall see. We shall see. Let's move to the Mail. It's another extraordinary story. This Prigozhin crash in Russia, page 12 of the Mail, an engineer who carried out last-minute repairs on that plane, apparently being interrogated by the Russian authorities. Yes, one would suggest that you do talk to him, given what happened.
Yeah, although, I mean, when this news story broke, that the leader of the Wagner mercenary group, who had led a rebellion, hadn't he, in Moscow, it didn't come as a massive surprise that suddenly he was brown bread and the whole plane had gone down, everybody on it died. And so, of course, everyone's looking at the Kremlin.
Were you not surprised at the audacity of it, though?
From the Kremlin, from Putin? Perhaps not. I mean, it probably should be. I mean, it just feels incredibly mafioso, but then that is Putin, right? And so what the Kremlin need is a scapegoat. So, I mean, I feel so sorry for this engineer, because being interrogated by the Kremlin doesn't sound like a lot of fun for me. But he's called Sergei Kritish, and I think he is going to be the scapegoat, because no matter what everybody knows or thinks, they have to assert themselves and say, oh, yeah, it wasn't us, it was him, and that's that. End of story, as far as they're concerned.
End of story. Let's all move on. Janelle, what do you think about it?
No, yeah, I think I agree with what Gemma said.
What was your first reaction?
Not surprised. I think that's the first reaction. Not surprised this has been happening, and then, as you say, not surprised they have to find a scapegoat, because where international relations are,
but the calculated nature of it. Was it 2 months to the day?
But I think we've seen the poisonings. I guess.
I suppose he did invade an entire country.
So I guess it's a different tax. I think maybe that's the surprising thing, is that they've tried a different tax this time, and it's not been the usual poisoning or something.
This is why Putin is still in power. He is a thug, and he is feared. and he is, you know, an autocrat.
He's to be feared.
Yeah, Prigozhin was, what, 200 kilometers away from the Kremlin.
But, I mean, if you were him, would you have even got on a plane? Imagine the paranoia that you would have lived with.
Funnily enough, it probably would have been safer fighting ISIS in the Sahel. On that, we're going to leave it. Thank you so much. It really has been a joy. Still to come on Sky News Breakfast, we'll have that news about that mid-air collision in Ukraine. Those fighter pilots are now dead, 3 of them, including call sign Juice.